The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And obviously we began the program with our little reminder about the passing of Senator John McCain, a man who, whether you agreed or disagreed with his politics, you have to respect the fact that he's a throwback to when we could basically go after our views without, we can disagree without being disagreeable. People,
almost be able to trust your politicians.
Yeah, he always told it like he felt it was, whether you agreed or disagreed with him, and I didn't agree with him all the time. I think one of the highlights to me that showed the character of the man, besides what he did in the military and served our country and saluted our flag and never took a knee in any fight, was the fact that when he lost the election to President Obama and his supporters were booing, he told them to cease, and he said he is a good man, and he said we have political differences, we have philosophical differences, but he is a good man, and he's doing what he thinks is right. And I think, unfortunately, we've lost that in our country, and especially at the top in the federal government. Partisan politics, but on every level, state level, local level, but especially in the federal government. We can't get anything done because it doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong. John McCain stood with Teddy Kennedy, who was obviously diametrically opposed in views on issues that he felt was right. He served his country, third generation. His father and his grandfather were both admirals. And he said till the end he'd lay his life down for this country. And he always fought for what he felt. And he took pleasure. He said he took pleasure in the fight in politics. He liked standing up for what he believed in. But he could do it and still make it not personal. And it's a great loss to the nation. CJ, you in the studio?
I'm here.
Yeah, no, great loss to the nation. There have been few like John McCain, especially in politics.
It's going to be hard to replace him.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And I was kind of surprised this morning. The White House flag was not at half-staff, which I don't know if it was an oversight or if it was deliberate. But
well, if it was deliberate, that's just inexcusable.
It is. It is.
I mean,
even if it was an oversight, it's inexcusable.
As a matter of fact, that was the first thing they should have ensured that happened. I mean, especially in light of the politicizing of the. But McCain was a man of his convictions,
but the problem is that the president never issued an order to have federal flags fly at half-staff.
Yeah. Well, there's no excuse for that. I mean, obviously, John McCain's philosophy of if you didn't like it, you didn't like it, and but I think it spoke volumes in the fact that he requested that Barack Obama, who obviously he was philosophically, politically opposed to on a lot of issues, but respected the fact that he was doing what he felt was best, and then they give a eulogy as former President Bush.
Right.
So he had a He had a Republican who had philosophical views close to his, and a Democrat, and he disagreed with both of those individuals because John McCain was a man who followed his principles and followed his character. You know, he's something that if every politician in Washington could be half the man that John McCain was, this country wouldn't be in a situation it's in. We wouldn't have gridlock in politics. John McCain believed in what he believed in, and he fought for it. And whether you believed in what he believed in or not, if you could do it without making it personal, he would respect you. But he'd fight to the death for his beliefs, and that's what this country should be all about. And obviously, his services, you know, to the nation and what he did as a POW is another reflection of his character. He had an opportunity to get out of that hellhole, the Hanoi Hilton, out of turn. He could have jumped the line, like a lot of politicians do, like a lot of politicians' sons do. But he refused to leave because it wasn't his turn. So he sat in that prison and suffered more torture and abuse because it was the right thing to do. As I said, great loss to this nation.
Have to agree. There's no question about it. Have to agree. Well, tonight there's a special city council meeting. Just what we need. Because our council president doesn't have a backbone. He couldn't say this is going to have to wait until our next regular city council meeting. But we're going to have a city council meeting just to address the agreement between the city and the Atlantis Charter School about the use of the emergency egress area. They want to use it to allow buses to go in there to drop off students and probably pick them up as well.
Well, can we also pass a ordinance that prohibits emergencies during that time? So
I guess we'll have to.
Because we're going to have to. Because if we have an emergency now, we're going to, you know, the emergency vehicles will have to, you know, they'll be blocked by buses. So.
But again, this is the same road that the mayor wanted so badly for them that he pushed this through. I don't know what this mayor's, you know, thing is with this school. It's not a Fall River school. It is a private school. It's public, but it's private. And the city's over here rolling over and giving them everything. No, baloney. The problem here is the politicians. Yes, you elected officials, every one of you, the mayor, the city council, the school committee, you didn't do traffic studies. You didn't look at what was happening. And for you to tell the people on Dickinson Street, if you don't like it, sell your house and move, you've got some real low hangers, let me tell you.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, that's always been, you know, when you don't have a valid argument for what you've done and you get caught with your pants down around your knees, that's what you say. Whether it's at the top level where it's like, yo, you don't like it? Go to another country. America, love it or leave it. You can't have a different opinion. Certain people, that's what they resort to. We also saw the superintendent of schools. Yeah, you don't like it? Move to Russia.
That's right.
Well, at least he gave you a destination.
A destination, right.
You know, he had a suggestion as a destination. But the fact is that this is ludicrous. You don't like it, move out. Those people were there long before that school was. I mean, that street, if you look at that street, I mean, you have to have your head so far up your derriere to not think there was going to be traffic problems with school buses and parents picking up their children in that location. That is a neighborhood. It's a residential neighborhood. And it's got some commercial buildings, but at the end, but the fact is that neighborhood, you look at the streets, what is that, on an avenue? Is that on Plymouth Avenue or Brayton Avenue or Ellsbury Street, which is fairly wide? And even Ellsbury Street, now we got those beautiful bike paths with green color. I don't know, what are they, Irish bike paths? I don't get the green that they've painted in between the lines. Now they got double lines in the middle, so you can't go across. And now they got the bicycle paths to make the lane barely enough for a vehicle to get in. So let's see how many accidents there are. Let's see. And by the way, has anybody seen a bicycle in a bicycle path in the last 10 years?
Oh, but we had to do that before school opened. So
Oh, yeah, because remember, you paint those things green, and you put them on the street with arrows and little pictures of stick people riding bicycles. That's it. We're going to become Europe. This is Paris. Everybody's going to grab a bike and just ride up and down the streets. It's going to be like Europe. And maybe we'll be like Europe. Maybe in Fall River we can follow Europe and charge like 12 bucks a gallon for gas. Then everybody will have to get a bicycle. You know, this is ludicrous. This is an outrage. This thing is an outrage. It was you know, this is what politicians do best. They don't think about anything. They don't study anything. It's politically expedient. It was a the Atlantic Charter School, feel good, education, wave the flag, okay, give them whatever they want.
And that's the argument people are using. They're saying, it's for the kids, it's for the, again,
for the kids, yeah. Well, you know, it's for the kids, it's for the kids.
The debt exclusion was for the kids too, right?
And by the way, what just happened to the gaming thing? Didn't we just have it? So what's going to happen? You're going to put it in a school, which, you know, obviously you know what happened with schools. We're going to take that, and then now we're going to exacerbate the safety issue by trying to tie up emergency entrances and egresses. It's beyond.
There's no planning.
It's beyond. Well, they never plan anything,
That's
CJ.
right.
And when they do plan, they don't really mean it.
That's right.
Because, you know, I got to segue into something else, but I got to get this one in. Did you happen to see the thing on the rail, on the commuter rail in Fall River on TV this weekend? It was beautiful. It was a thing of beauty. Because I encourage everybody to get on demand and try to find that. Because, again, we have another classic example of what BS politicians throw you. You know why? It gives you a historical perspective. The piece started out with Governor Weld, 1996. Fall River will get the commuter rail. Here it comes. Get ready. 22 years ago. Well, I guess Weld was lying. Sounded good during the election campaign. Then the next guy, Deval Patrick. The commuter rail's coming.
Yeah.
Here it comes. It's going to be there. Pack your bags. You can come to Boston. Next, our present governor, Chucky. Chucky Healthcare, I love to spend money for and my buddies can make it in the healthcare industry that I was a CEO in. Baker. Here it comes. Get ready. And then they went over the plan. You want to talk about, you know, I think it was Groucho Marx said, if you want, you know what government does? If there's no problem, they create one and then screw it up when they try to fix it, even though there was no problem at the beginning. They showed the route of the commuter rail. It's absurd. It goes this way, zigzagging, zigzag. Price tag, 900 and some million, almost $1 billion. Instead of being the shortest distance between 2 points of straight line, it's going to be a 90-minute commute to Boston, one way, on a good day. It's going to zigzag all over the place. Then right after this, they have all the people saying, look, this isn't going to happen. If it does happen, it's going to be a total waste of time. Because they're going to be in the hole like the MBTA always is. They'll be running into debt. They'll be paying people salaries. They're going to hire all their political friends to work on the MBTA. All their construction people will make a ton of money. They're going to spend almost $1 billion. It's going to be like the big dig all over again. And what are we going to get out of it? Nothing. Who's going to ride 90 minutes on a commuter train? You can take a bus to Boston quicker, even with the traffic. And that's on a good day. No commuter breakdowns, no issues, zigzagging all over the place. And you know what some of these people are saying now? Oh, we can't support this. We can't support this. The route's wrong. It's not going to be economically viable. This is crazy. Why don't we just go through the Stoughton route and straighter? And all a million reasons why it's not going to come here. So guess what? 96, it was great. Because it gave you a little lesson of if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. There you had Governor Weld in 96 waving the here comes the commuter rail. Then you saw Deval Patrick. Now we got Chuck. And Don't hold your breath for the commuter rail. But I just had to get that one in to segue in, because you're talking about planning. Even when they do plan it, they screwed up, because they may actually say they did plan this. And if they did, I would tend to agree, because look how badly they screwed up. They don't. A government always screws up, and for us to unscrew them, that means more taxes and more fees. That's
but again,
how we unscrew them.
I told them. Other people told them when they were talking about transferring this land over to the Atlantis Charter School for this road, it's going to create a problem. We told them it was going to create a problem. But who the hell am I? I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Of course not, because you know why? Because it was another feel-good thing. For the kids, for the kids, for the kids. You know? It's like, okay. But let's look at reality. So...
and the businesses around the Atlantis Charter School are complaining. Our business entrances and yard gates are blocked by cars and buses catering to the school, it said. The small company is a residential and commercial builder. There are multiple tax-paying businesses that are currently being negatively affected by the traffic from the Atlantis Charter School, especially during the morning times of 7 to 9 a.m. and in afternoons between 12 and 4, the letter stated. The head of Norbert Manufacturing, which manufactures elastic yarn and tag string, also at 994 Jefferson Street, Building B, sent an email to the Herald News. The parked cars along Jefferson Street make it very difficult for drivers to maneuver their 18-wheelers, posing a huge safety concern. Huge.
Yeah, well, number one, has anybody ever been on Jefferson Street that's in a city council? Because most of them from the north end. You know, Jefferson Street's a normal width residential street from start to finish.
Even though at the end of it is all industrial.
Well, at the end of it, it's got the old bleachery. That's the old bleachery properties, and they got a whole bunch of stuff. But that you got to go over the little bridge and into that area proper.
Right.
But the fact is, that's a bottleneck too. It's called a choke point. Good place for an ambush, not a good place for for traffic. That is a residential street. You know, it's like, look. Ellsbury's a pretty wide street right out here. And have you ever seen that when Conley, Durfee, and BCC are getting out?
You're waiting hours to get...
I mean, it's a horror show.
It is.
If there's an emergency here, there's no way anybody's getting it. The delay could cost lives, whether it's a an incident with an active shooter or a medical emergency or a fire. You got problems. You've got problems. And this is a pretty wide street in comparison to Jefferson. Look, they never think anything out, and frankly, they don't care, because then they start their chant. It's for the kids. It's for the kids. Well, you know, hey, the kids need a school. Build the damn thing in the right place.
Follow the planning.
But you can't. As soon as they'll start running commercials and it's all about for the kids. So it's all about the kids, the people who have owned property, paid property taxes for years, the businesses that are paying taxes. Now they're going to have all kinds of problems created by who? Your friendly, incompetent government. Let's see what happens in the Chamber of Horrors tonight. You know, I'll be waiting for bated breath to watch the debate on this one, because I want to see who addresses the fact that this thing was screwed up from the get-go. It was a screw-up from the get-go. As you said, you went there, other people went there to say it was wrong. But who cares? Who are you? You're only one of the people that's supposed to represent. And they ignore you. You know as well as I do. The only reason that people go to citizens' input is not to talk to the council, because they're totally oblivious. They could care less what you say.
That's right.
You know, but the reality is, if you go in front of the city council and speak, a lot of people really can't go to the city council meetings for one reason or the other. My personal reason is it makes me nauseous. And, you know, I probably can't sit down there without having to leave anyway, because, but I need a barf bag. But a lot of people watch it, and I actually tape it a lot, because then I can watch it in the small bits that I can watch 5 minutes of it, go to the bathroom, throw up, brush my teeth, gargle, and then half an hour later, after I watch something like Ninja Warrior or something like that to take my mind off the insanity that takes place there. I'll watch another little tidbit of it, and I have to watch it in small doses. It's kind of like taking arsenic. If you don't take arsenic in large doses, you can actually build up a little bit of immunity, or like snake bites. The guys that get bit by snakes all the time, ultimately they have a higher resistance to the venom. So it's like you got to take it in small doses because it is hazardous to your health. They should actually have a sign before the meeting. But I mean, look, the explanation for this problem is the same that was for the buildings that are falling apart, the roads that have got giant holes in them, and everything else that the government takes and does. As I said, Big Dig, the worst public project in the history of humanity, soon to be followed, if Baker gets his way, by the second worst. This new commuter rail that zigzags all over the place, and there'll be 12 people on it.
And that's the first phase.
That's the first phase, yeah. But hey, all their buddies in the construction companies will get the jobs, they'll get the bids, and they'll be working on it, and they're going to spend, well, that's the first estimate, 900 and some million. But guess what? With cost overruns, that'll be well over $1 billion for the first phase.
Actually, an independent company did a study, and they said it's going to cost somewhere between 12 and 22 billion.
Yeah, well, I would agree with the. Yeah, well, I mean, but what do private companies know? They can build. You can go to Las Vegas. They build a multi-billion-dollar casino in a year.
Right.
And there's no issues with it, no major problems, and the thing's still standing 25 years later, and it's in beautiful shape.
Oh, you mean like the new casino in Tiverton? It's already ready. It's going to open on Saturday, and it took them less than a year.
Did you see the MGM Grand in Springfield?
Yes, I did.
What a go! It's a Las Vegas style casino. They have an entire entertainment complex and shopping area, completely separate. Beautiful, a world-class operation. World-class operation. Built. Guess what? No cost. No cost overrun. Came in. Under budget, with the budget, and they know how to, because in private industry, if you do this kind of stuff, you'll never do another project because you'll be out of business.
That's right.
But the government never goes out of business. We just run out of money. Yep. They keep bonding.
Always remember, in government, when you hear the word change order, that means cha-ching.
CJ, you should go down there tonight. Just get up there, and you'll be well under your 3-minute time limit. Just get up there, identify yourself, and say, I told you so, and get up and walk out.
Exactly.
That's all you should say. Enough said. You don't have to say
exactly.
anything.
Exactly. Oh, God, it's amazing. Well, the state is investing $1 million in Fall River CFC's Headstart program for renovations. Yep. Nobody's going to really know, except the parents might agree that, now that the buildings are a little safer.
Yeah.
But again, this is a private entity. Granted, it exists totally and is supported totally by governmental money, tax dollars.
Yep.
Take it away from the private sector then. Move it into government. Then it'll really be screwed up.
Oh, yeah. Then instead of getting $1 million, they'll get $10 million.
They'll get $10 million, exactly. They'll be able to build a whole new...
Because all their relatives will be working there.
Right. Because this is ridiculous. I mean, I cannot see our tax dollars being wasted constantly. Constantly. And this is because of people like Senator Rodrigues who think that $50,000 for a rowing center is worth it.
Yeah, well, apparently he hasn't, look, let me
I'm not against the preschool program. Okay,
but that's the lead, as you said. They always they talk about other countries using children as human shields.
That's what they do here.
We use them as political shields.
Yep.
So look at the first line of this story: the little preschoolers in Citizens for Citizens Headstart program. So we have to bring that image in. It's imagery. This is not about $1 million worth of tax money. This is about the little preschoolers.
And
it's just it's ridiculous. But let me, before you go, see, Jenny, you can take this away. But I've got to just, yeah, I know Mike Rodrigues, every once in a while they watch these things and throw stuff at us. But just to remind him, because I know he doesn't remember where he doesn't really live in Fall River, and he lives in Westport.
He lives in Westport.
So, and so does the other rower, Schmid,
yep.
you know. So, you know, they think rowing, you know, being sculling on the Charles. We're going to skull down down at the Watuppa, and that's going to let you get into Harvard because you got a rowboat. You're gonna get into Harvard. Okay, but let me tell you something. The yuppie puts on their lycra gear and they get in their skull and they're sculling down a Charles at daybreak before they go to their job in one of the high rises in Cambridge and in Boston. But you represent Fall River, boys. I hate to tell you this. You want me to give you the difference, a reality dose of the difference between Fall River and Boston and Newton?
About $60,000 a year.
Yeah, you know, besides all those other factors, economic, but what we, you know, this is the reality. It's like comparing, you know, Pittsburgh with San Francisco. Pittsburgh is a blue-collar mining, you know, steel town. Different. They live in a different world. Do you think in Boston that when you get interviewed for a job and you potentially may get it, they have to tell you not to wear pajama bottoms to work? I rest my case.
I love it.
I rest my case.
Isn't that?
I mean, where else in the world? This is bizarro world.
Isn't that the
Your
dress code for
employer
Walmart?
tells you don't show up for work in pajama bottoms.
I know.
And it's like, but that's like the uniform. Go to Walmart in Fall River. It's like the uniform. No matter what time of the night or day, they're walking down. I like the ones that are, you know, they're walking down and pushing a stroller, and they got the flannel pajama bottoms with little ducks on them and stuff like that. And it's like watching cartoon characters walk down the street. But I mean, let's face it. This is where you're at. You think you maybe should elevate the educational level, train people to get a real job, and get them in a position where they don't think pajama bottoms are actually active wear? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But, you know, I don't believe if somebody can find a place in Boston or Newton that when you get a job, the employer says, look, we don't allow pajama bottoms at work.
I don't believe.
I can't believe. But that's it, guys. I hate to tell you that, but this is what we got. Welcome to our world.
Well, welcome to Fall River, yeah. Well, no, I just wanted to complete the reading of that where you opened it. The little preschoolers and Citizens for Citizens Headstart program probably won't notice the new fire suppression system, windows, or paint in the building, but their parents can feel good about those safety and aesthetic updates. So we're going to spend $1 million on safety and aesthetic updates. Safety, I can see. Well, in the last few seconds here, Rhode Island DOT announces completion date for Tiverton Casino Roundabout. They're done. They're done.
Yeah. Well.
And the casino's opening on Saturday.
You know why? Money maker. Money maker. And by the way, for all you people looking for the sports book, which includes me, they had on one of the Rhode Island news networks that the sports book won't be opening till in the area of Thanksgiving in November. So all you guys that wanted to run down and bet on the next Patriots game or on a fight in September, forget it. So stay angry, and we'll close the program the way we opened it. Please give a little moment of your silence and respect for Senator John McCain and the service he gave to his nation, both in the military and as a true representative of the people.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Wednesday.